So I have one more thing to add. This is about something I like to call the parts changer. And you all know someone in that you've encountered who makes repairs, and the first thing he'll say is, I think it's this." The problem I have with what you think and what you know are two different things. And I want someone to know what's wrong. If I'm paying the man 100 to $250 an hour for RV work right now in Pueblo, Colorado, I expect him to know, because you don't get to go to the craps table with someone else's money. Why do you get to say "I think" instead of "I know"? So for all you parts changers out there who think that you know the problem, I once knew a guy. This is not a joke. I won't tell you his name. Yeah, well, his name is Todd. So this guy told me one night, "I can sense what's wrong with the truck, like ESP." This man owned a shop. You'd be surprised. I'm going to just let it all out here because you need to know what's going on behind the curtain so that you say, okay, this is worth me spending my time learning. Because if you don't, you're going to pay someone out of their nose, and it's going to be like the magic man who came to you and said, well, I got 3 problems wrong. Well, wait a minute. I never had a check engine light until right now. Shouldn't that mean that I should only have like 1 problem? It's quite possible. Now, if that check engine's been on for 2 years, it's entirely possible you have 3 problems. You can't let things get progressively worse in that regard. But I wanted to add that because it's like it's not that people don't make assumptions. I mean, obviously you have deductive reasoning. You have likelihood, probability, these types of things that lead guys to go, hey, I know this engine always has a bad one of these, especially if it's this part number. Well, if it updates to a different part number, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guy who goes, you know what, I think the cam's walking on this thing, and that's why your crank signal's going bad. So what I recommend to you is that we pull the crank, we check it out, and make sure your thrust is all right, and after that, you're paid $5,000 for an end frame, for an overhaul, and you had none of those problems. You had magnetic dust of metal debris on the top, just like this one does, of the crankshaft sensor. Guess what that's going to give you? It's going to give you a signal that goes to the ECM, and one of the first diagnostic steps is to check for metal filings on this. Don't you want to be able to pop your own out, look at it and go, oh shit, no metal filings. All right, or man, it's stacked up all the way. I can see why the gap between the wheel it's reading, the gear, whatever it's reading, in a variable reluctance, in a signal that it's generating, like this is fixed, but nonetheless, I mean, you get what I'm saying here. You want to be able to know that I've done the preliminaries. I know it's more advanced than what I can do, or I know how to do it. I just watch this channel and he'll show me how, because right now I'm going to do those speed sensors. I'm going to do a class on YouTube, and it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes, but that's 10 to 15 minutes that most mechanics would never give you. They'd never give it to you. Why? Because they want to keep it to themselves. Let's make information free-flowing. Let's make schematics available online, get some databases for people to start doing their own work, learning how, and really empowering the masses to no longer be held back by someone who they believe has the magic wand. There's no magic wand. I didn't know any of this shit. And I can tell you, it's not as complicated, but you cannot jump around and expect to understand it. So my guarantee to you is if you consume the information, and I'll fill in the blanks where you need me to, giving comments and feedback, I will generate the amount of information in your brain that allows you to confidently go and troubleshoot something, knowing you're not going to make it worse. Okay? Thank you.